bless you. And I wanted to talk to you guys today about some things like Voice Church. Okay. And the title of this is called Some Churches. Now, a lot of people are probably going to get offended behind this because there's a lot of them that's out here that's church-going people, God-fearing people, and I want y'all understand. So if this is, if you're a true, honest Christian person, then this is not for you. But these are the people, for the people who are out here perpetrating, trying to be God-fearing people and leading people the wrong way. And you're taking the righteousness that is supposed to be put towards the church, out of the church. Okay. And like I said, it's called Some People. And not some people, some churches, I'm sorry. And the way I see it is, the churches are not what they used to be. When I was growing up, churches were churches. You went to church, they praised God, they gave to God, and I understand you're supposed to pay your tithes and all that. And people gave to the tithes and to help with the church and everything, But you have a lot of churches that they go for show. And what I mean for show, excuse me, I got a scratchy throat this morning. They go for show. They go in there dressed all up, heels on, and fancy stuff like the jewelry, the dressing up, the fancy cars, and then they look down on people who don't have as much as they did. Whatever happened to where it says in the Bible, come as you are. That means if you don't have fancy shoes or fancy clothes or jewelry or the big hats, come as you are. And people need to leave other people alone. If you don't have it to come to church in to be dressy, and this is not a fashion show. God is not going to let you inside of heaven because you got money or fancy shoes and big hats and a fancy car. You're not going to get into heaven like that. A rich man, is said in the Bible, a rich man has a hard time getting into heaven. Is better off trying to get a camel through the eye of a needle. Okay, and that's not going to happen. Now, if I quote that wrong, please correct me on that. But but I'm pretty sure you guys know exactly what I mean. And what I'm saying is, the people who out here, then they making people feel bad or looking down on it. Instead, at one time in your life, somewhere, you was not like that. You were down on your luck. And maybe not. You may not been, but someone in your family has been that way. And you wouldn't want nobody to feel like that in your family. You have to understand that God wants us all to be happy. God don't want us to be, looking down on one another. Oh, I'm better than that person. Or why would I even associate with that? They don't have anything. No, you don't do that. No, I don't have money. I never did. But you know what? I'm not poor to the point to where I'm scraping and scrounging. I get up and I go to work, But you still have people will look down on her. Oh, she work. Oh, how horrible, But I like doing it. That's something that gives me something to do, that keeps me striving every day. And God gave that to me. See, the thing is, you have to want to have that love in your heart. And people fail to realize, if you go into the house of God, God wants you to love your sisters and brothers, no matter how high, no matter how low, And I don't understand how some churches will allow that. Excuse me. And then they don't have a lot of things that and churches don't have a lot of things that they do to help out the community. When you see somebody don't have much, you're supposed to help them. You're supposed to show them love. you're supposed to have a food bank inside the church or a soup kitchen to feed the homeless. A lot of these churches don't have them anymore. They want you to, you know, donate money to this cause and that cause. And I understand they don't have it, but you know, a lot of these churches don't have soup kitchens. And as congregation, you know, we should get in there and say, okay, we're going to bring something in from our homes, maybe make something, you know, a big pot of soup, or somebody bring in 3 packs or 3 big boxes of crackers, you know, some bread, something to feed the homeless, you know, to put, you know, because God, believing in that, Jesus was our first homeless person. Well, he wasn't our first homeless, but he was homeless. Okay, he walked, and he didn't have a mansion. He didn't have no home or anything. He slept where he slept, but he always helped, no matter what, you know. But he didn't have 3 or 4 pair of shoes. He had whatever he had on his back, and that's all he needed. And you have some churches that want you to pay all this money in tithes. And my thing is, this is a big pet peeve for me, because this one here I've had happen to me before. And I'm not going to get a church name. I'm not going to give any kind of names, but let me just put it like this. I had needed some help. I was, you know, I work, you know, like I said, but my BG&E bill was extremely high that I couldn't afford it. So the church that I was attending, I went and I said, look, I need some help with my BG&E. And you know, I didn't belong to the church, but I've been going there for 3 or 4 years. Okay, and I paid my tithes. Regardless, I pay my tithes. And they told me, okay, they want me to come in and, you know, fill out an application. Okay, once I got there, I filled out the application. Then they tell me, okay, we want you to try these places here before they tell me, okay, before we want sorry before they could help me. And I was like, okay. Then they said once the application's approved, if it's approved, they'll let me know. Well, I was really, really hurt, because they said it takes 30 days, and after 30 days they'll let you know if you was approved or wasn't approved, like you was going in for a loan. So you know, a month went by, they let me know, oh, we can only help you with $200. You know what my bill was? It's my bill. My bill was $850. Okay, and yes, I had money to go towards it, but I couldn't pay all of it because I had other bills to pay too. So I didn't even respond to it, because you know what? All the money that I have put into that church, you can tell me this is all you can do and help me. Now, another friend of mine that used to live next door to me was explaining to me how his aunt, she gave her whole rent, I think it was $1,200, to tithing. And they said, okay, you know, thank you, you know, they put it into the church tithing and everything. She came back 2 weeks later, hey, I need help with my rent. They told her she would have to pay an application fee. They would, she would have to wait 30 days to hear something. And she still didn't get it. Her nephew, which was my neighbor, you know, paid it for her. And I said, you know what? This is what I be talking about for some of these churches. Some of these churches be getting over. But let me tell you something. If you're driving a hoopty and your pastor in them is driving a Bentley or a Mercedes, and they can't help you with your bills, because that's what the tithe is for, to help people that's in need. Not only people in need, but the church too. Some of these pastors, a lot of these pastors live off of the church tithing. No, the tithing is not to pay the salary for the pastor. It's supposed to go towards helping the church, helping the people that's in need. Jesus didn't take any of the money that was given to him for helping people or giving the word. Oh, we need money for the pantry so that we can feed the homeless. No. You ask people to bring food in. You ask people to go to the store and buy canned goods and stuff like that to bring in. That's how you do it. You don't take the money and then say, oh, we gonna fill up the pantry for the food, No. And then when you get down there, you only give a bag or two to, people have families to feed. And this is what irritates me, because, see, I know I'm going to get some feedback or some flack behind this, because a lot of these pastors don't want to hear the truth. You don't treat people like that. So now, for now, when she told me that, I stopped paying tithes immediately. You know what I do? I give my tithes to a homeless person. I sure do. And why I do that? And I know people like, oh, why would you do that? Why would you give it to a homeless person? They'll go use it on drugs or go get something to drink or whatever. No. What I do is I give it to the homeless, because whatever they do with it, that's between them and God. I'd rather know that my money is going to help somebody in the correct way than to put somebody in a brand new car that I can't even afford, that I'm still riding in a hoopty in. Let's talk about getting some of these homeless people off the street. Let's talk about feeding the homeless people. How about that? And stop lining some of these pastors with with our money. And no, I'm not saying all pastors are like that. What I'm saying is that some of these pastors, a lot of these pastors, are not doing what they're supposed to be doing in the church. Now, another thing, man, I write everything down, of course, so you see me looking down, because sometimes I get so frustrated and caught in my emotions of what I want to say. I forget to say what I need to say, so I write it down. And now you have pastors that allow the members of the church to dress the way they want to dress. Now, okay, I can understand you can come in there, if you want to dress in your pantsuits or, that's fine, but with the women, they have the chest, boobs hanging out, they come in with the skirts clean up to the hips, and you can see everything. And if the ushers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, what they should do is stop them at that door. Hey, now I've seen some churches that like, I've traveled a lot, and I've seen churches, they'll say, whoa, 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 you can't come in here like that. This is a holy place. We don't bring it. And I know they say come as you are, but there's a limit to how you dress in there. Now, if you want to come in here, then what the usher should do, say, hey, sisters, whoever, give her a color robe. They should have special robes for people who ain't got nothing to wear. Just throw this on top of what you got and go on in and keep it closed. That's how you do that. But you should not allow these women coming in there with the chest all out, skirt clean past their hips, and sitting up at the front. And if it gets past the ushers, then the pastors should say something. Now, I did see something on Facebook not too long ago where and I don't know how true it is, because you know how Facebook is. But it was a lady that came in, and the pastor, they must have got past the ushers. So the pastor said, sweetheart, come on up here. I guess she thought he was going to compliment on how she looked. She came up, and he said, this here, it is not acceptable to come into church with. And a lot of people had a comment behind that, because of the fact that they said that was calling her out, that was embarrassing her. Well, my thing is, it was embarrassing to come to church is something that you shouldn't. Would you wear that in front of the Lord? If he came down and stood right in front of you, would you wear that? How would you feel if God came and that was what you was caught wearing in his house? You have to think about how you will want to represent yourself in front of God, not in front of man. Yes, you want to, when you go to church, you want to look good, you want to look nice, and sometimes you don't have it like that. So, yeah, if you want to just throw on the old pair of jeans that you have, you know, or old skirt, you know, that's long, that's you. And then you have a lot of these pastors that don't say nothing, and these women come up front and they sit with the boobs hanging out. And these are the women they be cheating with. They be cheating with these women. Oh yeah, come sitting up front and everything. And you know, again, I seen another thing, like I said, on Facebook. I don't know how true it is, but they had one row of women sitting there with no, you know, with everything basically hanging out. Some pastors say come to church with no underwear on. Who ever heard or observes things like this? This is crazy. We need to keep God's house clean at all times. Let the filth stay out in the street. If you're going to try to bring filth into God's house, then you need to stay out there. Don't allow the world to tell you this is the way it's supposed to be. Keep God in his house and keep the worldly stuff out. And what I mean the worldly stuff, I mean don't have people coming in there telling you this is the way this is supposed to be, and you got skirts clean up to your tailbone and your cheeks, and no, we're not having that. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And pastors, first of all, you have to realize you're a man first. And if you're married, you have to represent your wife, because you will want her to represent you. You representing one another. If I turn my back and go 10 miles down the road, I would want my husband to represent me the way I will represent him. If somebody come and try to hit on me or something, no, I'm married. I straight up tell them that. You don't allow stuff to keep playing on. That's if I was married. But that's how I'm saying you have to represent. You don't allow nobody to come between you and your wife, or you and your husband. You represent. That's what God wanted you to do, just like you would represent God. He wants you to represent him. He wants you to represent your wife. He wants your wife to represent you. And you both represent him. That's how you do that. Excuse me. And church is supposed to be a clean place. But pastors have allowed people to come in and change things around, change the word around, change God around to suit their needs. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. You leave God alone. You leave things the way God had intended you to do things. That's simple as that. You don't allow people to come into the church and change things. If you want to change things, then you go to your own church. You make your own church and you change it how you want to change it. But you leave God's house alone. If it's God gonna let you know. God is gonna be there. And my thing is, how is it that we want God to hear us? But again, we're changing his word. We're changing the house around to suit our needs. We don't do it. And it says in the Bible, do not add or take away from what he has said. You don't do it. I don't understand what's wrong with people. And we're going to have to put God back in the church and stop allowing the world to take him out. Now, my thing is, we need, as people, to stop putting what the world thinks that how we should pray, how we should think, how we should act, how we should feel. We know how God wants us to feel. He wants us to be happy, but it's not going to always be happy. It's not going to always work out the way we want to work out. You know, we may feel that God is not always there, but he's always on time. We don't allow pastors to say, well, we need you to put this much in here. I've had one church to where they wouldn't even let us out of the church because he wanted to make sure he get a certain amount of money in his collection plate. We stayed there till 2 o'clock in the morning. He passed that tray around and around and around and around. And it took his wife to say, you know what? Let's go home. And you know, that's plain greedy. And we should not allow people to do that to us. And I didn't go back. When I see churches like that, I don't go back. And now they got ATM machines inside the churches. Now, I don't know how many people have seen this, but they have them inside the churches now. And I don't like that. Because, see, my thing is, if you can't take what I have and give you, okay, we may not be able to give you, or may not have money on us right then and there, but you don't know, we may want to get home and switch some monies around and put something online, okay? But a lot of churches have ATM machines in the church. I'm sorry, in the churches. Oh, I can hear it now. We got ATM machines for your convenience on the first, second, third floor, you know, in the basement. You know, we'll give you a good 10 minutes to go and get your money, you know, so you can put it in the collection plate. No, I'm sorry. That turns me off completely. I don't like to see ATM machines in churches because that, to me, that's just saying you're all about money. This is nothing but a show. And like I said, I know this is going to tick a lot of people off, but you know what? I don't care. I don't care. Because of the fact that it has to be said. It has to be brought up. It has to be told that this is not right. People, open up your eyes. You want blessings? Pastors want blessings? Then start doing the right thing. Stop asking for a huge amount of money that people don't have. People can only give what they can. If it's big or if it's small. Because you'll turn people off with that. And then when they come to you and ask you for help in the church, because they can't no longer afford their rent or BG&E, and you give them some bogus answer, oh, well, you got to fill out an application, it's a $30 application fee, and this and that, and you know, it turns a person off and it turns people away. So, on my tip, I'm trying to leave this as a positive note on everyone. Please, if you feel that I've said the truth, please note at the bottom, you know, and spread the word, okay? And subscribe. But if you don't feel, also leave a comment, because it, give us something to talk about another day if you have something to say. Okay. I hope and I pray you guys is great. I bless you guys. I love you guys. And thanks for listening. And I will talk to you guys later. Okay? God bless.